Joining in. Great. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I'm Trisha Silverman. I'm a registered dietitian, a fitness and yoga instructor, and a wellness coach. And I want to welcome you on behalf of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. Let's go ahead and get started. I have lots to share with you. I'm very excited about this topic. It's sleep and nutrition. Why is this topic important to me? Well, about 25-ish or so years ago, I was doing my dietetic internship and I got into this pattern where I couldn't sleep, and then I would drink tea all day to keep me awake during the internship. Then I would go home and I'd be wired, and then I couldn't fall asleep. And I started taking over-the-counter medication. I would get this kind of weird, hazy sleep. It never really felt good. And then I would go back to work the next day feeling groggy, drinking tea to wake up. And it was a pattern. It was, rinse and repeat that whole year through. At the end of the year, I had 1 week after the internship ended and before I started my real job, I had that 1 week to do something. And I got on the internet, and you could only find your horoscope and the weather at that time. It was when in the 90s, when the internet was brand new. And what I decided to do was kind of flip through Shape magazine. I found this rectangular, about this size ad at the back of the magazine. And it was advertising a health spa in Hallandale, Florida. And I thought, why not? Let me give them a call. And they took a credit card. That was my criteria. Do you take a credit card? I had no money as a poor student. And did they have availability that week? They said yes. And I went. Little did I know it was a vegan health spa, and vegan wasn't as popular as it is now. So it was no animal food, but also no alcohol, no sugar, no salt, and no caffeine. Well, about the third day in, I was sleeping so well. It was amazing how great I felt over the course of that week. And I realized that caffeine really isn't for me. And I saw how a really super healthy diet, how just a few days on a super healthy diet can make you feel really great and sleep really well. So I want to share with you what I've learned since then, because there's a lot more than just no caffeine. And by the way, it doesn't have to be no caffeine. What I would suggest is that you experiment. And some sleep experts say, give up the caffeine at 2 p.m. and then see how that works for you. I've heard other sleep experts say 12 p.m. I've heard 10 a.m. So you may want to keep cutting it back and seeing the impact after a few weeks on your sleep. And then eventually you may want to just go caffeine free and see what kind of impact that has. It may work well and it may not, but you'll never know unless you try. So experimentation really is key. All right, let's move along. Lots to share. One of the things that is important to know is why sleep is important in uncertain times. And this is according to the National Sleep Foundation, which has really helpful information about sleep. Well, sleep empowers an effective immune system. A lack of sleep may make some vaccines less effective. Sleep heightens your brain functioning, particularly in areas such as complex thinking, learning, memory, and decision-making. And sleep improves mood and mental health. So a lack of it is linked with depression, anxiety, bipolar, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, the diversity of your gut microbiome promotes healthy sleep, and this is according to research in the PLOS One journal. Now, what that means is that in your intestines, we have a thriving bacterial environment. And to make it thrive more, we want to feed the good bacteria in your intestines, and we want to limit the junky food. We want to eat lots of plant food. That makes your intestines, the bacteria in your intestines, thrive. And when they thrive, they make more serotonin. And then as a result of having more serotonin around, you can make more melatonin. And a good diet contributes to that. And we'll talk about how, as we go through today. But just know that plant food helps to feed the good bacteria. And that's what we want when we have lots of different kinds of good bacteria. That promotes healthy sleep. To get a diversity of different bacteria, we eat a diversity of plants. That means your fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, beans, and seeds. We want to decrease the artificial sweeteners and other food additives. We want to consider fermented foods like kimchi, which is fermented cabbage, kefir, which is a fermented yogurt type of drink, and tempeh is fermented soy food. Now, if you want to get a little more specific with other types of foods, polyphenol-rich foods. So these are a class of phytochemicals or plant nutrients, and they're in nuts, seeds, berries, extra virgin olive oil, and your crucifers. Your cruciferous vegetables are items such as Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, turnips, kohlrabi, bok choy, and there's even more. Now, other polyphenol-rich foods, coffee and tea, but remember, we want to be careful about caffeinated teas and coffees because those may be working against good sleep. And polyphenols are especially high in green tea, so you can go with the decaf one if you're concerned about your sleep. Now, Dr. Michael Bruce is an amazing sleep doctor. He's all over the media. He's on lots of talk shows. You may have seen him before. He wrote this book, The Sleep Doctor's Diet Plan. And when you read the book, it's more than just a diet. It's really about what to eat to get good sleep and how to have better hormonal control with what you eat and getting enough sleep. So what he says is that the best way to decrease your weight is to increase good quality sleep in conjunction with following a balanced weight loss diet. So a balanced diet in general, really good for overall health. And then when we watch how much we're eating, that's going to help with weight loss if that's what you're looking for. So for overall balanced diet in general, I put this plate together and I looked at areas of longevity across the world, like the Okinawan pyramid. I looked at the Mediterranean pyramid. I looked at the USDA plate, which is our current icon for healthy eating in the US. I looked at the Canadian plate. I looked at the Diabetes Association plate and Harvard School of Public Health plate. And I put them all together and came up with this. And on the plate, you'll see half the plate vegetables. Really important. If you're not getting vegetables in at both lunch and dinner, that's one simple thing you can do today to get more vegetables in and to help improve your health. Now, a quarter of your plate, protein-rich foods, a quarter carb-rich foods. Try to get different color fruits and try to get at least 3 fruits a day, at least 3 vegetables a day if you can. And we want healthy fats in our diet, and we want to stay hydrated. So I'm going to welcome you into my kitchen for just a little bit and show you in more detail about these foods and the food groups. So when we talk about protein, remember, quarter of the plate protein. And one reason protein is super important for sleep is that protein is made up of amino acids. They are breakdown products of protein. One of the amino acids is tryptophan. And tryptophan turns into serotonin, which helps you to feel good and helps you to sleep. And another thing that tryptophan turns into is melatonin, that sleep hormone. So we want to make sure we're getting protein in our diet, and you can work with the dietitian to figure out how to get enough protein specific for you. But quarter of the plate is a really good idea. And what do we want to do for that? Well, fish is really great. Try to get 8 ounces over the course of the week, and easy ways to get that in: the pouches. This is wild salmon, wild tuna, popular brands that go on sale a lot. That's one easy way to get fish in. And then we have things like Greek yogurt, and that's a brand I think is really yummy. Also, chicken and turkey and beans. Beans are full of fiber, a plant food, so that's going to help with the diversity of your microbiome. I like that 365 cheaper brand at Whole Foods. I like to get the no salt added beans if you can. At the regular supermarket, I find that most of the black beans don't have a lot of additives, like the Market Basket black beans, I think are a good one. So look, if you can't find one with the low sodium, you want to look for that. If you can't find that, you want to rinse and drain them at least twice to get off all the sodium. Of course, you can cook them from scratch too, and you'll save money as well doing it that way. Now, a quarter of the plate carb-rich foods. So when we talk about carb-rich food, some examples are millet, which is a gluten-free whole grain. Quinoa, another gluten-free whole grain. And then we have things like oats, another great grain, really nice beta-glucan fiber, which is wonderful for your intestinal environment. And then we have things like brown rice, whole wheat couscous. That's fun for busy people. It cooks up fast. If you're looking for a fast cooking grain, it's the same type of wheat that's in pasta, but this is whole wheat. You could also do a whole wheat pasta. And a quarter of the plate whole grains, or potatoes. One of the things that you want to think about if you're looking to manage your weight, you can still have these things. It's really just watching your portions of them. And to know if they're whole grain, we want to look for the keyword whole in the ingredient list. And what that means is that the 3 pieces of the grain are intact: the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. In the bran, we have B vitamins, and the B vitamins help with various aspects of sleep. Lots of fiber in the bran and the germ. Vitamin E in the germ, helpful for your cognition. It's a potent antioxidant, really super good for you, good for your skin as well. Then we have the white starchy stuff. Not a lot of nutrients there. Companies strip away the bran and the germ, and then they make things like white pasta and crackers and bagels and pastry. And it's not that you can't have any of that stuff. We just want to minimize that stuff. And we want to have most of our grains whole grain. All right. And then we talked about fruit. So you see my rainbow poster here. That's in reference to your fruit and your vegetables getting lots of color in. The Mediterranean diet is all about color, and that's a great way to think about eating, trying to get different colors of fruits and vegetables in. So if you want to get those in, we have to shop for different colors when we're in the supermarket. Okay. Now, I also mentioned healthy fats, so things like extra virgin olive oil and nuts and seeds. I love these little packs, the 100-calorie packs from Emerald brand. They make it really easy to snack on nuts, and they're portion controlled if you're looking for weight management. Avocados are, another example. Seeds like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, and hemp seeds, and flax seeds. I have some flax here and some hemp to show you. And these are nice to put in a smoothie. You can also, I like to make energy balls, and I roll them in hemp seeds. That's a fun thing to do with those. And they have omega-3 fats, which are anti-inflammatory, really good for you. Okay, so I'm going to share again, and we will move along. Hydration, super important as well. For sleep, staying hydrated. And that means aiming for 9 cups a day for women, 13 cups a day for men. If you're nowhere near that, just keep trying to bump that up. And keeping a glass around as a visual reminder. I have this glass around to cue, a reminder to drink water. Now, Dr. Bruce says that both insufficient sleep and poor quality sleep make your body want to store fat and not burn it. And that's through various mechanisms and various impacts on hormones. One of the things that's interesting is that when you get really stressed, you increase cortisol production, and you may have heard of that as that belly fat hormone. When we don't get enough sleep, we also increase cortisol. And cortisol can lead to increased cravings, which is why they call it the belly fat hormone. And the cravings that we get when we don't have enough sleep, I wish they were for things like spinach and broccoli, but they're not. It's more for things like cookies and ice cream and the stuff that we don't want to eat too much of. And I think a little of that kind of stuff is okay, but too much can really work against your efforts to feel great and to sleep really, really well. Another thing, if we don't get enough sleep, we won't make as much growth hormone. And growth hormone is helpful for maintaining your lean body mass, your muscle mass as we age. So for optimal hormonal control, we want to get enough sleep. Sleep also impacts glucose regulation. So if we're getting enough sleep, then it's going to have a good impact on our blood glucose regulation. If we're not getting enough sleep, it can interfere with good glucose regulation. So for people who have pre-diabetes or diabetes, getting enough sleep is just another way to help support your health and to help support blood sugar control. Now, I mentioned that poor sleep increases cravings. One way that it does that is that not getting enough sleep increases the hormone called ghrelin. It's your hunger hormone. And it decreases when we don't get enough sleep, decreases leptin, which is your fullness hormone. So it really can put your hormones out of whack. Now, when you get better sleep, can help your hormones to stabilize more and help you to support your body with what your goals are. And that's probably feeling good. It may be managing your weight, sleeping better. We're going to talk about some other strategies as we move along. But first, I want to share some shocking sleep and obesity trends. So in 1960, the obesity rate in the US was 13.4%. People were sleeping 8 to 8.9 hours a night. In 2010, the obesity rate climbed to 35%, and people were sleeping 6.5 hours a night. Can you guess now where it's at? The obesity rate is over 40%, and people are now sleeping around 6 hours or less a night. Now, it's not the only reason that people are obese and gaining weight, but it's one of the reasons that can impact the overweight and obesity that we see in our country. Now, 2 to 9% of US adults have sleep apnea, and this is a risk factor for stroke. Now, to prevent it, if you have cardiovascular disease or diabetes, you want to get tested for sleep apnea, and maintaining a healthy weight can help you to prevent it. Another treatment that's helpful is the CPAP machine. So the CPAP device can help you to get better sleep so that you're well rested, so that you can help, stay in control of your cravings, and you won't be in this vicious cycle of not enough sleep, and then your cravings go up, you eat more food, gain weight, and the weight gain can, increase your risk for sleep apnea. Now, the sleep stages to know about, there are 5 of them, and 4 are non-rapid eye movement, and one of them is REM, rapid eye movement. In stages 1 and 2, we get light sleep, 3 and 4, deeper sleep. And in deep sleep, that's where your body restores itself physically. Your body heals itself, repairs and regenerates tissues. If you work out, when you work out, you break down your muscles. When you get good sleep, you help to build them back up. Now, REM sleep, rapid eye movement, is the mental restoration of sleep. So it's where we store memories, for example. Now, it takes 90 minutes to get through all the stages, but you need 4 to 5 of these cycles, of these 90-minute cycles. So what it equates to and what the recommendations are: 7 to 9 hours of sleep for adults 18 to 64. And if you're 65 and older, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And the good news is we can just keep working on things until we get it right for ourselves. Now, the 8 great sleep tight tips. Sleep hygiene is key. This just refers to sleep habits. So have a sleep schedule. Try to get to bed the same time each night, even on weekends if possible. Eliminate caffeine, as we spoke about earlier, especially after 2 p.m. Some people may need to eliminate it altogether for best results. Limit alcohol, especially 3 hours before bed. It can interfere with deep sleep and REM sleep, that mental restoration. Now, if exercise keeps you up, do it in the earlier part of the day. Try to get some sensible sun in the early part of the day, because the blue light from the sun can help you to make melatonin so you can sleep better later on. Try to wind down an hour before bed, dim your lights, turn off electronics, and then eat a balanced diet like the plate that I showed you, and a varied diet. So within each food group, get different grains, get different vegetables, get different fruits, vary your food, and that's really going to help. Now, tea time. So chamomile tea may help promote sleep. And it's one of the tricks that I love. I think it's great to end your dinner meal with some chamomile tea. That might be something fun to try. It can also help with weight management to end your meal. The cue is tea, it's ending the meal. So just something to think about. Now, the hot cup of milk, is not a lot of evidence that a hot cup of milk is helpful for sleep. However, this remedy has been passed down through generations, so it may be worth giving it a try. Now, it may be due to calcium, because calcium may calm the nervous system. It's associated with less difficulty falling asleep and more restorative sleep. So you can get it in plant foods like almonds and broccoli, but you all know that calcium is in dairy food, so low fat and fat-free dairy products, salmon with bones, soy foods, leafy green vegetables, calcium-rich food products, and then sardines, and also poppy seeds, which is interesting. Now, vitamin D in the Mediterranean diet may be helpful. So vitamin D may help with maintaining sleep, and the Mediterranean diet is associated with less risk for insomnia. Now, more difficulty falling asleep has been found with the higher intake of hexadecanoic acid, and that's a saturated fat found in meat, cheese, milk, and butter. So we want to limit those foods. Red meat is pork, beef, and lamb. So we want to limit the red meat in your diet. Now, chocolate, tomatoes, bananas, they all may impact your sleep in either good ways or not so favorable ways. So theobromine is in chocolate, cocoa, and tea. It's a caffeine-like chemical that's associated with daytime sleepiness. And on the other hand, lycopene may help with falling asleep, and that's in your red fruits and vegetables like tomatoes and guava and pink grapefruit. And then potassium is associated with less daytime sleepiness. So sources are banana, sweet and white potatoes, spinach, and Swiss chard. And then the total water. So I mentioned water before, but it's associated with healthy sleep and less non-restorative sleep and less daytime sleepiness. So we want to get our water in. Now, copper and zinc deficiencies may affect your sleep. Copper and zinc are also important for your immune system and healthy skin. We find copper in things like pecans and sesame seeds and cashews and peanuts, cremini mushrooms, which are also known as baby bellas, also sunflower seeds, garbanzo beans. You hear me repeating a lot of different foods now. Zinc-rich foods, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, oats, yogurt. Also in the whole grain spelt and in scallops. Now, iron deficiency can trigger restless leg syndrome, which can affect your sleep. So you want to check with your doctor to see if you may be deficient. You never want to take an iron supplement just because you suspect iron deficiency. You want to get tested first, because too much supplemental iron is associated with cancer. Now, iron-rich foods, in addition to lean beef, remember, limit the beef. You get iron in beans, sunflower seeds, tofu, whole grains, oysters, light tuna, chicken, turkey, raisins. So you keep hearing me repeating healthy foods. You don't have to worry about all these specific foods. Just worry about healthy food in general and varying it within each food group. Now, magnesium may increase good quality sleep. Magnesium-rich foods, nuts, sunflower seeds, whole grains, spinach, beans, bananas, dairy products, and raisins. Magnesium may also help with good bones, strong bones. And then your B vitamins, I mentioned those before when we showed the whole grain poster. B vitamins may play a role in various mechanisms that affect sleep. Where can you find them besides the whole grains? Well, nuts, potatoes, and broccoli. If you take vitamin B in supplement form, take it early in the day, as they may have a stimulating effect. Tart cherries. So for tart cherries, I love Wyman's cherry mix. It's a frozen mix you can put in your smoothies, dark cherry and red tart, dark sweet and red tart cherries, really yummy. So tart cherries and tart cherry juice in research has been found to reduce the severity of insomnia in study participants. It may also help with athletic recovery. So something to think about, it may be due to the natural melatonin in cherries. If night sweats are interfering with your sleep, you may want to do more soy foods like edamame beans. They're a great appetizer at Japanese restaurants and other Asian restaurants as well. And then edamame, dry roasted edamame. I like these little snack packs. You can get them on Amazon, also at Stop and Shop. Those are really yummy. Soy milk as well. Then some herbs and spices for better sleep: nutmeg, turmeric, garlic, parsley, dill, sage, and basil may promote sleep. And there's some evidence that carbohydrates alone may help to increase serotonin. Now, if you are diabetic or have pre-diabetes, it's something you want to avoid this strategy, but it's something you may want to experiment with if those issues aren't one of your health concerns. So Dr. Judith Wertman out of MIT found that 25 to 35 grams of carb alone may help to calm your mood and may increase serotonin, which can also give you that nice sleepy effect. So you may want to, adhere to the portion sizes. I gave some examples: a cup of cooked oatmeal, for example, 3/4 cup of cashew heart-to-heart cereal. You may want to do this about an hour before bed, see if it works for you. And it's doing this without any added protein. There's a little bit of protein in whole grains, but trying this strategy out may be helpful, and it may be one that you don't want to try. So you can leave this, but take the rest, or some of the items we spoke about today. The key is to try at least one item. Now, if you have questions, I'm going to be checking the chat, so put them in the chat. I do have one more thing. Well, lots of things I want to show you, but I'm also respectful of your time here because we have just a few minutes left. So if you have questions, I don't see any now, feel free to put those in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing to show you some other things that I think are fun to know. Okay. So one of the things that, I mentioned those spices that may help with sleep, spices and herbs. This is my favorite basil plant from Trader Joe's. I've had this a while now, it just keeps thriving. And I used to be that person that couldn't keep a plant alive, and I'm keeping this alive. What I do, so I mentioned some of you were here earlier. I'm having a salad wrap for lunch. And what I'm going to do is just, and I'll show you with the plant, just pluck off. I'm going to pluck off a few of these, and then just, I'll show you what's cool about basil. Pluck off the leaves. Now, if you don't have a lot of time, what I might do is just rip off the little pieces, put them right into, I'm going to rinse it first and put them into my salad. The other thing that you can do with basil that's really cool is you can stack up the leaves. And then once they're stacked, you can roll them. And then you get a sharp knife, and then you can cut through, and it helps you to get these nice little slivers of basil that you can put over a salad, over your pasta, just really yummy. Oh, it smells so good just right here. So that's something to think about. Getting herbs and spices in is a way to increase your nutrition. In fact, the Tufts older adult plate shows herbs and spices on the side of it, just for older adults as a reminder to get herbs and spices in, because as we age, we need less calories. And when you get more herbs and spices in, there are hardly any calories, but they do contribute to really good nutrition. And leafy greens have folic acid, which is really nice. And a deficiency of folic acid is associated with depression. So greens are a feel-good food. All right, let me see if anything came in on the chat there. And I don't see anything on the chat. We still have a few more moments, so I'm going to keep going because I can talk for hours and I have so much to share with you. Another thing that I think you might want to know about is this really cool Mediterranean cookbook. It's from America's Test Kitchen. They have really wonderful books. There's other books on, I have one of their books on bowls, really healthy bowls you can put together. This is on all kinds of Mediterranean dishes. So it's a book that I highly recommend, and I think that you'd really, really like that one. All right. Another thing that I want to show you in just the few moments that we have left is some other ways to get nutrition in that are sneaky and that tastes good. And if you're looking for weight management, it may help with that as well. So cauliflower rice. What I like to do with this is put other vegetables over it, and then protein with that, and then like beans or chicken. And then I like some extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of Pecorino Romano cheese, and then you can put the basil on top of that. I like some marjoram too, some onion powder and garlic powder can really wake up the flavor, and it's really nice together. And remember, I mentioned the cruciferous vegetables are important. They're important for so many reasons. They're cancer fighters as well. So that's one way to think about getting them in. All right, we have reached the end of our time together. I don't see anything in the chat, but I'm so glad that you all joined me today. And I have one wish for you, and that's that you think about taking one thing you learned today, just one thing, and implementing that, because one little thing will have huge dividends over time. So thank you very much for joining us on behalf of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. I'm Tricia Silverman, your dietitian for today. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.